All right, thank you very much, Sarah. It's time to talk about your money. And you know, back in the day when you were working for a company, you hoped to work for several years, get a pension, retire with a gold watch. Not the case anymore. Stewart Welch joins us from the Welch Group to explain. So yeah, back in the old day, that's what our fathers did. His pension plan and had Social Security. It was a nice nest egg, right?
Yeah, I think people really like the pensions, and but it is going the way.
Companies are doing away with them. They just didn't plan on the cost of them, what they're coming to, right?
Yeah, I think, Mike, probably the big problems has been that they have actuaries that calculate how much money needs to go in the plan in order to fund it, and they miscalculated. People are living a lot longer because of health care, and more recently we've had really poor investment returns.
Gotcha. So they're doing away with them, and so now they're telling people, the employees, hey, you need to figure out what you want to do with it. So let's talk about some of the options. All right. So if they're terminating your pension. You talk about rolling it over to an IRA, and that would seem pretty simple, but it's not.
Yeah, I think that is pretty simple. What makes it more complicated is your choices. So you can roll it over. You can say, I'm going to take the pension, but they'll freeze it, so they're not going to put any more money in it. Or you could cash it out. And so between those three options, you want to be really careful, because it's, I don't know, it's one part science and one part art. So there's a mathematical science to, does this make sense? Does a pension have a decent return inside of it? And then there's an art of it, because it's a lifetime income. It has to do with your health, and you're trying to decide whether to take a single life pension, or most cases you get to choose a joint life over your life and your spouse's life. So it depends on your spouse's life. All those things come into play.
All right, so let's cut it down to simplest of terms, if we could, though, for people out there. Then what is the best option depending on a person's situation?
So that's the key. It depends on the situation. I'll give you an example. So let's assume that you had a relatively low income tax bracket. You had let's say no children, and you got debts to pay. So you might want to cash that out. Now you have to be very careful. If you cash it out, you may face a 10% federal penalty if you're not under 59. If you're under 59 and a half and try to cash it out. We did a case the other day, and we looked at it, and it made more sense to keep the pension. In this particular case, the pension returns looked pretty good, and they did not have children, so they weren't worried about passing on an inheritance, because the pension is, when it's gone, it's gone. And so that made sense. Most of the cases, I would say, a rollover to an IRA is a good choice, but you have to be very careful about making that choice.
So the best thing to do, if it's a little complicated, get a tax advisor to help you out with that. All right, Stewart Welch, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.